When I think of Steve Chapman, I not only think of the words high energy, high vibration, high quality, smarts, determination, purpose and mission, I think of the words mission accomplished. Steve wants the world to think better, feel better, and do better. And when you drink Steve's natural nootropic drink, Shine, you make the conscious decision to do just that, to shine. Shine is now one of the fastest growing beverage companies in Australia, available in over 6,500 retail outlets across Australia, and now also available on New Zealand shelves. What an incredible accomplishment in what is relatively a short period of time. There is so much about Steve that I resonate with, from his rejection of bad energy, to his serial entrepreneurship, to his mission to push forward humanity, his focus to enhance human potential, creating products with integrity, and especially all without the bull. I'm excited to dive deeper into the outstanding mind and the extraordinary journey of Mr. Steve Chapman.
Thank you.
Welcome to Red Lantern. Take a seat and let me pour you some Tiger Purr chai.
Looking forward to this.
Cheers.
Okay. Thank you. Steve, I want to start by telling you how much I admire you for your being a quality human being.
Thank
I think
you.
there's a quality human being, man. There's not a lot of quality human beings around. As also, I admire your journey, your entrepreneurial journey, especially as a fellow serial entrepreneur. So, late 2016, I am with 3 of my guy friends in Mykonos. We are at the A-Fest Biohacking Conference.
Nice.
And because we were into biohacking at the time, at the conference we were hanging out with Dave Asprey, Mark Hyman, Marissa Peer, Edward, Eric Edmedi, all those super guns. And my mates who were at the time breath work, ice baths, all the stuff that's all the rage now, we were doing many years ago. And they smuggled in these little very different to what this looks like now, right?
Yeah.
And I was so excited because it's Australian.
Oh, they brought it to Mykonos.
What do you, we brought it to,
that's so good.
It's Australian? What do you mean? Australians don't do nootropics, that's why we go to old Mykonos and we hang around. And I was so excited. I was so very excited.
Oh, that's amazing.
And I love the taste of it. It's not for everyone, but we're not here to please everyone, right? And so I wondered, because I know, but I wondered if I could hear it from you, please, Steve. What is nootropic, and why is it important that it, gets a start in Australia?
Yeah, well, for me, I also hadn't come across nootropics until just working very long hours and realizing there was like coffee or energy drinks were like the 2 options to keep you going, keep you focused, and both ended in a bit of a crash and, full of artificial ingredients and just packed full of sugars and caffeine. So I started down a Reddit kind of rabbit hole and experimenting with all these different nootropics, which ultimately are ingredients, compounds that help you think, feel, do better, or energize and awaken the mind. So, you've got a range of pharmaceutical, kind of synthetic, almost like the movie Limitless by Bradley Cooper, and you kind of picture taking a pill and, your brain lights up, all the way through to natural, very traditional base, ingredients such as green tea or turmeric or ginkgo biloba, L-theanine, which is found in green tea. So we definitely went more the natural route. It's a lot less intense than some of the pills you might try. But things that we also
I don't mind the L-theanine pills.
Yeah, they're good. I think L-theanine caffeine combination is one of the best you could do.
Yeah.
But we wanted to make it mainstream so we could have a wide appeal, not just kind of go down the biohacking niche. There's a very small amount of people who are really into it, and they're probably making their own stacks. So very, very early on, we decided to take it more mainstream and keep it with ingredients that you probably heard about before, or at least have some familiarity with.
Yeah. That wasn't your first entrepreneurial rodeo, right?
No.
Tell me about FaceBuy.
Oh, FaceBuy.
Was that your first
Yeah,
venture?
like officially, I guess. I started as a kid doing everything to make an honest all around.
Tell me about that. What was your first job? What was your first hustle?
My mum showed me this like car wash fly that I'd made up.
Can I ask what your parents did?
Both small business owners.
Yep.
So dad was an IT kind of services business. Just worked extremely hard. And I think I saw hard work from him very early on.
Yep.
He wasn't around much, for my first 10 years. It was just like, he was always in the office. And my mum was just in a personalised recruitment services business that she'd started. So, both very entrepreneurial. Mum, though, kids first, and dad was probably business first.
Yeah. And siblings?
Siblings, older brother, 2 years older, so worthy competitor from a young age.
Yeah, cool. He would have whipped you into action?
Yeah, well, because he's 2 years older, I always try to compete with him physically and always try to play up, so to speak, and be able to play with his friends.
Awesome.
Physically, which also probably led me coming into a family unit, if you think, my brother and my family were already set up, and then I'd entered, so I think I had this little chip on my shoulder from a very, young age, probably subconsciously, to try and prove myself or get some acceptance and do that via some accomplishments or accolades I could get from, to start with sport in, but, I was always quite creatively. As I said, the car wash business, I'd hire all the kids, younger kids in the neighborhood, and I'd pay them, $2 a car, and I'd go convince the parents to pay us $20 a car, and I'd get to keep the profits. And then did that with the newspaper routes. And so a lot of parents at the time, when they asked me what I wanted to be when I grew up, I said business. And I don't think I knew what entrepreneurship was back then. It probably had a bad reputation, like a used car salesman or something. And, I think now, thankfully, that word and that, status of entrepreneurship is starting to evolve to more of a, wholesome word, with like Elon Musk and Jeff Bezos and these guys leading the way there, or Richard Branson was my first idol. But yeah, so that ultimately led to FaceBuy, where people around me said, you're good at business when you grow up. I started down the Big Four accountancy route. So straight from high school, about 2 weeks after I finished HSC, I started at PwC and, put a suit and tie on and went to the office in the big city and thought I made it.
How was that for you?
Look, I think I had an ego at the time that was well developed through high school to help me protect me from probably bullying. I had a speech impediment as a kid and got bullied a lot for, all sorts of things.
Okay.
So I've developed an ego to protect myself from that and try not to take it personally.
Yep.
I forgot that I was wearing that kind of ego cape and took it into, PwC, which probably reinforced that, getting a big corporate job straight from high school didn't help that. And unfortunately, I took that into my first entrepreneurial venture, which started about a year and a half into my PwC career, let's say, which lived in total for 2 years.
Yeah. I think when entrepreneurship is in our DNA, we just can't help.
Yeah, exactly. Every night I'd just be dreaming up new ideas to make some dollars, or, I think I'd saw Facebook had just bought Instagram for $1 billion. And, after 18 months, I had a team of 11 people, and I thought, that's super cool. Like, how do I create an app and sell it to Facebook for $1 billion? That was pretty much the business plan. And so FaceBuy, you think Facebook marketplaces today, I think I sold something over the weekend on it. It's definitely a good idea.
Yeah.
It was the right direction where Facebook would get into social commerce and, trying to bridge that gap between an eBay and a Facebook. So I called it FaceBuy and, wanted to connect socially with friends and help them buy, sell between their friends. End up getting, sued by Facebook and shut down and lost 100 grand.
You telling me that story made me a little bit nervous. So I'm like, he's going to get sued, man.
Yeah. Well, apparently, Facebook owns the word face on tech platforms, and they shut down my integration and my app and sent me a cease and desist letter. And, I was talking to their lawyers, which I thought would be a good thing, but ultimately it wasn't the M&A lawyers. It was the cease and desist lawyers. So, through that, learned, 2 things. One, I loved entrepreneurship. Like, that journey from start to, shut down from Facebook was about a 2-year, 18-month journey, and just loved every part of the outwardly facing stuff in terms of just product and team and talking to people and networking and getting mentors and developing something that didn't exist before and convincing people of the vision and getting other people to join the vision. So that was all great, and we got 10,000 or 20,000 downloads, and we were one of the top apps in the lifestyle section on the App Store. So it had some elements of success, but fundamentally I was a flawed entrepreneur at the time. I was only 20, but I carried that ego that I talked about at high school into the entrepreneurial world, thinking I knew all the answers, thinking I was Zuckerberg in a hoodie and telling everyone to F off, and just didn't ask for help, didn't actually probably put the work in that was required to do something.
I think you accomplished a hell of a lot for all this stuff that you're saying.
Yeah.
Awesome.
Yeah, but I think to the level of the game I was trying to play. You know, like I was trying to swing for the major leagues, you know, with my first swing at the bat of entrepreneurship at that level. And, you know, I just wasn't prepared and wasn't, you know, humble enough to do the work and ask the questions of people who could actually put me in a position to succeed on, you know, an idea that large. But, you know, figured out that I had this ego through that. You know, Ray Dalio talks about pain plus reflection equals progress. And for me, I had a bunch of pain around that point, and, you know, I'd lost a lot of money. That, you know, we don't have a lot of money as a family, so that meant a lot to me. And
what were some of the reflections, Steve? How did you get yourself out of that one?
Yeah, it was some dark times. You know, if you think Hero's Journey was definitely the abyss of that first, let's say, chapter of the book. And, you know, around that time as well, I'd lost a bunch of friends because I was involved in some network marketing business that ended up turning into a pyramid scheme, even though I did my best job convincing everyone it wasn't a pyramid scheme. But it was around that same time I got, you know, shut down by Facebook. This other company I was trying to, you know, sell some healthy energy drinks of all things, would end up getting confirmed a pyramid scheme and shut down as well. So it was just a shit time around that time. And
it was your training.
Yeah, you know what, like I think at the end of it you become grateful for the scars, and you become, you know, I've got a mindset now. It's like you win or you learn. Like they're the two outcomes. Like, and I was just doing a lot of learning back then, and, you know, that ultimately helped me set up for the next chapter. But through that, you know, I figured out the obstacle is the way. You know, Marcus Aurelius, the impediment to action advances action.
Ryan Holiday.
Yeah, I love Ryan and Marcus Aurelius and Stoicism, and I kind of picked up that probably off the back of Tim Ferriss and those guys back in the day. And
it's actually one of my favorite books.
Yeah,
there was a stage where I read it like the Bible.
Yeah, I love that. And Ego is the Enemy was one of the other big ones that obviously pointed to some of my flaws, and through that realized I wanted to go learn from people smarter than myself. So I started reaching out to, you know, had a list of the top 50 or 100 like young entrepreneurs in Australia from one of those websites, and just started working my way up and down the list and tried to catch up with as many people as I could. And I think I got coffees with about 16 of them. And the guy at the top of my list was a guy called Dr. Sam Prince, who was running Zambrero. He had a one disease charity, and he'd just done a bunch of impressive, you know, things, including being a medical doctor. And, you know, was old enough to, you know, have some success to teach me, and also young enough to remember like what it was like to get started. So we hit it off very quickly about entrepreneurship and hip hop and basketball. And
so if I were to ask you, Steve, because, you know, I know Sam, I'm friends with Stuart and Samantha, who are his partners in Sombrero, and with someone of that caliber, and I love your humility, by the way. Humility comes from the word human ability. Well done. And for someone of that caliber to meet you, and you're basically saying, train me, teach me, take me under your wing. What characteristics do you think he saw in you for him to say, come on, man, all right, let's go?
It's a great question, and he's a incredibly impressive and serial entrepreneur as well, and, you know, he's gone on to do great things. He, I think, saw some element of himself in me. You know, this young, hungry kid, just that, you know, thinks he can, you know, make an impact on the world. And but at that point, you know, had learned the humility part of going, you know, you got to put the work in, you got to ask, you know, for advice, you got to listen to it and actually apply it. You got to read the books, you got to get up early, you got to, you know, at that point I stopped drinking and I stopped hanging out with friends, and I just, you know, probably went too far on that aspect. But, you know, at the time it was my, you know, baptism by fire into the world of entrepreneurship and apprenticeship ultimately. So I think Sam saw that I'd done enough to kind of not be some just random kid off the street. You know, was the youngest employee at PwC, and then I started this app, and I, you know, had a bunch of public success with the app. And
you also have had some rung on the boards. You know,
it wasn't a complete standing start, let's say, but you know, so I had enough raw talent, let's say, or maybe not even raw talent, potential, future potential that I could, you know, he potentially could see and tap into. And so it was the right time for him, right time for me, and, you know, it was a match made in heaven. Yes.
So when we're talking about I think it's a delicious drink, Shine. No, hold it to the camera. He's your business partner.
Yes.
In this. May I ask, what does he bring to the table, and what do you bring to the table?
I think as you get older and you get more experience in business, you know, that changes definitely. So when I started Shine with Sam, you know, Sam's was the guy who actually came up with the idea. We were sitting in an airport in New York, and we were just kind of talking about, he's a medical doctor, and he's got a lot of friends who are doctors. So they were also talking about these medical studies that had come out from, I came from the like Reddit, what is the underground, kind of talking about it. He came at it from the medical societies and what are the studies actually showing in terms of ingredients.
Yeah.
So we engaged a professor of psychopharmacology who also kind of tried to bridge the gap between, what can you actually put in a drink, what's scientifically based, and then also what's the dosages and the functionality you might get from each of the ingredients. So, and then, Sam at the time was also, even more so now, but a very successful entrepreneur where he had a lot of connections and networks and experience. And, when I first started with Sam, I was just a sponge. I was just learning as much as I could. So anything, he would say jump and I would say how high. And I think that was the right way to go about the apprenticeship. And, I was my blood, sweat and tears. And Sam's, obviously he helped with the idea, and he helped with opening doors, and he helped with a lot of credibility, because for a startup in beverage, it's not an easy thing to do. I think sometimes
especially selling a nootropic.
Yeah, brand new category.
Yeah,
and new category, new brand. I knew nothing about beverage.
Yeah.
So, I was just trying to tap on every door I could find that anyone had started a successful beverage or consumer brand in Australia. I was kind of knocking down their door and trying to learn from, and some overseas as well. And some of Sam's friends were in that mix as well. So, he gave it all the momentum that it could need to start and get it out from idea stage, out of the garage, literally garage in Melbourne, into, Zambrera. Obviously could help open some doors at Zambrera and start trialing on some counters. At the end of the day, the product still had to work. It still had to sell to go any further, but he gave it enough oxygen and breathing room and all the rest of it. So then I could, take that spark and turn it into the maybe inferno that it is today, or hopefully one day.
Yep. So my question was, what does Sam Prince bring to the table, and what does Steve Chapman bring to the table? You spent a lot of time telling me about what Sam Prince brings to the table. I want to hear now. Fast forward past the startup phase. What do you bring to the table? I want to hear about you.
I love the game of entrepreneurship. I love consumer brands. I love product because you can touch and feel it. I had some experience with tech world with the FaceBuy, and for me it was a bit of a dark mystery box what was going on in that code or behind the screen, where I think with a product you can see it being manufactured, you can taste it, you can touch it, you can always iterate it, which for me is very tactical, and I love that experience. So for me, I love leadership as well. So I love building a team. I love bringing people along for the journey. I love product innovation.
How big is your team now?
We've got 9 people over in the House of Shine in Manly.
Yes.
Which is a good place to work and good place to hang out. So I think naturally I quite enjoy the brand side of things, and making sure that's always been the centerpiece of how people think, feel and do about the word shine and what that could mean for people's lives, and not just a product, but also then bring the right people around the team to be able to help make that vision a reality.
Yeah, to turn the invisible visible.
Yes.
That's what we love doing. So your mission at Shine is to rid the world of bad energy. Steve, in your own words, what does that mean? What is the bad energy? I
think, you'd be on the same wavelength as this. I imagine there is, negative, let's say, vibrations or feelings or doubt or pessimism or fear or insecurities or, lack of self-love. I think that's, for me, all wrapped up in bad energy.
Yes.
There is a cheeky play on words with bad energy drinks and, ones that are full of sugar and artificials. And but for me, it's such a wider terminology of going, it's actually how do we make the world a brighter place? How do we make the world a better place by, the brand and the products that we sell? And how do you overcome a shadow? You shine light on it. So it's like, what are the shadows? What are the bad energies out there that we can hopefully shine a light on?
Yeah. I read an article a little while ago. It would be a few years ago now. The tone of it was, it's expensive, it's difficult to drink because of and I'm reading this and going, what are you talking about? It's delicious, and it's medicinal. It's medicine.
Yeah.
It's all medicine, right? And so I'm reading it and I'm thinking, it is all about vibratory frequency. When you are of the same vibration, for example, wheatgrass, when you're not of the same vibration as wheatgrass, you can't taste the deliciousness of it, And I told you about the tiger purr chai. For those, and I activate it with shamanic activation. Thank you. I'd love to talk about alt as well. And for those who don't understand flavor, they don't get it. They don't get it. They'll say it's not sweet. I can't drink. I can't even smell Red Bull. I can't bear it. We're not of the same vibratory frequency. It's a low vibe. As well as with Tiger Purr Chai, if you don't match the vibratory frequency, you won't understand the restrained elegance. You won't understand the naturalness of it all. And so at the end of the day, we can't please everyone, but you've expanded your range so much now. I want to, acknowledge you for that as well.
Thank you, yeah.
What can you share with us? What else have you done? Because you're now in 6,500 outlets. Can we just stop for a moment to go fucking A?
Yeah, like it is cool.
That is so hard to do. Well done.
Thank you. Yeah, it's all the logos that you'd hope, on a vision board when we started of Woolworths or Coles or 7-Eleven or Ampol or BP, and that's it's been on the vision board since we started. It's just kind of cool to see it. They're actually you can pick up a shine from those stores now, which is nice. We started definitely to make it more of a concentrate in a shot. It was the delivery mechanism to get the nootropics fast, quick, on the go. And because we didn't have much money, it was like a good place to disrupt the category and put a beverage on the counter. You had 9 doors of drinks in a petrol station, and you only had one beverage on a counter. So you really got to stand out and shine from day one. But I came across this, I think it was a TED talk by Malcolm Gladwell, and he talked about there's no perfect spaghetti sauce, where all the big Procter & Gamble and Unilever for many years would try and just survey as many people as they possibly could and then average out their results of what they liked about from a spaghetti sauce. And some liked it chunky, and some liked it spicy, and some liked it more tomatoey, and some liked it classic style and more vegetable. And then they thought the bigger the number they could get of the surveys, then the more perfect they could get their spaghetti sauce. So they would have one spaghetti sauce, averaged out everyone's responses. And then a very smart guy, wasn't Gladwell, came along and said, hang on, like, if let's say I take your coffee order and you say, macchiato, and then someone else says a cappuccino, and someone else says a latte, and someone else says, a mocha, and then we average out that answer, and then we serve everyone that averaged out answer, you're going to rate it maybe a 6 out of 10.
Yeah.
And it's just not going to hit what you talked about before, people's own preferences. Versus if, you have asked for macchiato, you get a macchiato. Someone asks for a latte, they get that. Someone asks for, a double ristretto 3/4 latte, and they get that. They're going to rate it at 8, 9, or 10 out of 10. And we thought that with flavor as well. People's number one reason why they repeat purchase is flavor.
Yeah.
And some people are going to love a concentrated ginger lemon flavor, and they're going to go, that's exactly what I'm looking for. While others go, I want something carbonated and cold and tastes like peach passion fruit.
Yeah.
So we ended up going wide on flavors and just trying to take what is the core fundamental part of the drink or product, which is the nootropics, natural and low or no sugar, and then try and make that appealing in as many appealing formats as we can. So the shot format, the 250 mils for slimline can, the 330 ml glass bottle in Better For You, the 254 packs for take home, and then the 500 ml big black cans for kind of more your traditional energy drinkers who now can get the same shine in a number of different ways to hopefully open up that audience base.
Especially for those who like variety as well.
Yeah. I probably have a different flavor every day. And, it depends on the time of day, what food I'm having, I might change it up as well.
Yeah. Do you enjoy the innovation process? Do you play a big part in that?
Yeah, I love it at the moment. We're doing probably 3 big projects at the moment, researching which one we'll do next. And
awesome.
It's just fun. I love the category, I love the trends. I love talking to people. I think for me, it's just like filling your subconscious with as much data as you can, like all these data points. And the more you can, the quality of the data points matter, then your gut feel becomes better on pattern recognition, and you can start seeing what might be the right, next move because of, just being so close to all those details and the data points.
Yeah, the data is important. Steve, if you were thinking about when you first started, we're talking about Shine, of course, and you were pounding the pavements, trying to get your stuff out there, and fast forward to now, if you could give me three important points which attributes to your success, what would they be?
It's got to start with the hard work and the persistence. I think every day we went from 12 till 5 and hit the streets. I think there's strategy which kind of leverages, time and execution, but you can't multiply execution by 0, and you can't, multiply 0 effort, by any sort of strategy. You got to put the work in. So for me, that's like the don't start, without that. I spoke to the beverage guy early days, and he talked about specifically in beverage, find your highest density of your population of target consumer, and then like pick that postcode, and then just get in the coolest 5 spots in that one location, and then just don't do anything until you make those 5 work really, really well. And then in that same location, get the next 5 cooler spots that your target consumer would want to.
How long would you spend on those spots?
Maybe a month.
Okay.
When we first started, just to know we had the right product, the right consumers, we got the messaging right. We'd touch base with the store manager, we'd get the sampling, we'd do the little 1K radius on the Facebook ad so everyone would see it. And then if you could nail that, highest density population target consumer in the 5 coolest spots, you had some elements of success there, and you could start, taking that out to the next 5.
And collecting the data.
You're collecting the data and keep leveraging it. And then you just do that suburb by suburb by suburb by suburb. So we did that for probably 8 months, and we got into about maybe 500 stores.
I love that story.
Doing that way, the hard way.
Yeah.
And then you can take all those insights, and then you start going to the multi-site operators, the ones that own 10 at a time or 20 at a time. And, then you can start talking to the nationals, and you get a 50 store trial. And if that goes really well, then you get a national account. And then you just, Ampol was the first to do that for us. And we got a 50 store trial. And then they launched it nationally. And then that went really well and became the number 1 selling better for you drink in Caltex.
Yep.
Over a year. And then we took that data and then, showed that to 7-Eleven, and then 7-Eleven took it, and then Coles Express. And, now we're in every major petrol and convenience, and you take all that and you take it to the grocery guys, and you show Woolies and Coles what you're doing versus the competitors in petrol and convenience. So it's a numbers game of leveraging up to the next level of the game, so to speak. But it's got to start at that, smallest minimum viable product or minimum test case of consumer.
Yes. So hard work, data, social proof. I think a very important element also, Steve, and testament to the success of it, because it is a more expensive product. The OG, which I love OGs, by the way, I want the original, man, is not for everyone, and yet it is everywhere. That's also testament to, yes, all the hard work, all the data, all the strategy, but the product itself.
Yeah, the product's got to stack up.
It's so delicious, so delicious. So alt milk, by the way, your wife's a hottie. Tell me about hemp milk, and when did you guys meet? How did you guys meet is more important. How did you guys meet?
Yeah, one of the...
Lauren,
yeah, she's the best thing that's ever happened to me.
Yes, she's gorgeous.
Yeah, I've done well for myself. She and her and I met when I was also working on a way to fund my FaceBuy dreams back in the day. I was working in nightclubs, specifically in Manly, and number 1 rule of the nightclub is look after all the pretty girls, and they'll come and they'll bring the guys, and that's nightclub 101.
Yeah.
And I was single at the time and had a great year doing that. And then Lauren and her friends came in one night, and I didn't know them at the time. Introduced myself, offered them a free drink. And they said, no, thanks, I'll get my own. I was like, okay, hang on, I don't think you understand. It's a free drink card. I work here. And she goes, no, I'll get my own. Thank you very much. And I was like, oh, shit, in a year, no one had declined the free drink. And so I thought, there's something special about her. And there's something challenging and curious. And she's just awesomely independent. And, she has such a strong value set, and she just lives it every day. And you could feel that in that first interaction.
Yeah.
So then, 2 weeks later, somehow I convinced her to come on a date with me, which was on Valentine's Day. That date ended up having, by coincidence, be at the same table as my dad and her and his new partner. And then, I think 4 weeks later, she probably moved into my dad's place, and the rest is history. Now we've been married for 2 years, together for 10.
Yes. And alt hemp milk, I would love to try with Tiger Purr one day.
Yeah, I think it'll go well.
How is that going?
Yeah, it's good. I think Lauren, through COVID, through lockdown, she's always been very passionate. She's been vegetarian for maybe 25 years or 26 years. She's been vegan for maybe 5 or 10. And she always posts on Instagram, every meal that she makes us. She's a passionate cook, and she's built up a 60,000 odd follower base on Instagram, just posting meals that she cooks for us every night called Vegetarian Eats. And through COVID lockdowns, I think everyone was making sourdough or building a backyard or doing something. And so she started making her own plant-based milks at home. And I've always been a full cream drinker myself.
Yeah.
And
are you still?
I'll drink hemp milk when it's available.
Yep.
If not, I'll still drink probably full cream.
Yep.
And through COVID, she started putting hemp seeds on everything. Like, she became obsessed with how good hemp seeds are, with the protein and the omega-3s and all that good stuff. On every salad, every meal, she'd put hemp seeds on it. Yeah. And then she started making hemp milk. At home, you'd just be, hemp seeds in a bag with water and a bit of salt. And, I tried it. I was like, that's actually pretty good. Like, I'd maybe swap for that. And, then she started testing with a few cafes, and then she started going cafe to cafe. And they were like, yeah, this is great. But, it just didn't work with the coffee at all, with the acidity, and she had to do a bunch of stuff to make it kind of blend well with coffee. And she was selling some hemp seeds and hemp protein as well. And, maybe watching my journey inspired her a little bit to give it a crack, and I was definitely encouraging her to do it. But yeah, she's doing a great job. She's, I think, in 200, 300 cafes now, and she signed like maybe 6 or 7 distributors, and she's got some great feedback on the product and the brand and the timing of it. So yeah, like, I think she's going to do a great job with it.
I love hearing those stories. Making the invisible visible.
Yes, yeah, exactly. Like, who knew the world needed another plant milk, and specifically hemp milk, and she's the first to do it here, and I think that's always a good thing, is being first.
Yes.
It's often the hardest way to go about it, but if you can build the brand, build the category, and not stuff up and protect yourself, then you build such value in that brand. Yeah.
So awesome. I read I'm going to read this. I read something about you the other day. Your mindset for success. I stopped drinking alcohol. I stopped socializing. I would wake up every day at 3:24 or 4:24. I'm a 2 a.m. to 4 a.m. riser as well.
Nice.
I would end up reading over 250 non-fiction books on business, entrepreneurship, philosophy, and more. Every day I trained my body in the gym and my mind with meditation and journaling. I was obsessed and machine-like and transformed my entire self piece by piece. Kobe Bryant was a huge inspiration to me and fueled my work ethic in those early mornings, hence why I wake up at 4:24. What would you say to...
Rest in peace, Kobe.
Yeah. Rest in peace, Kobe. Like, seriously, how'd that happen?
Yeah.
What would you say to the other entrepreneurs out there, Steve? Is this the kind of discipline that is required for success?
I wouldn't say required. I'd say, what level of the game do you want to play at? If you want to be a Kobe Bryant in the NBA and you want to be one of the greatest to play it, and you want to be compared with, Mike and Shaq and those type of guys, then you're going to have to put in those type of effort and hours. If you just want to play pickup ball at the street park with your mates, then no, of course you don't need to do that. And I think with entrepreneurship, it's kind of, I would encourage younger entrepreneurs to just kind of pick the level of success that they're actually aiming for, and to create a great lifestyle business, or to create a good business where you can travel and hang out with friends and do what you love. You don't need to be getting up at 4:24 and stop drinking and stop hanging out and just commit all in. You increase your chances of success if you do that, no doubt. But for me, I decided early I want to play this game as best as I can play it. So when I hang up the boots at the end of the career or my life, I knew I gave it everything on the court or in the game of entrepreneurship. So
yes,
that just resonated with me. That drives me. That gets me up. I'm excited. I love every day about it. I'm not, mostly wake up before my alarm at 4:24, but it's because ultimately my worst days today in this world that I've created is better than my best days at PwC and doing some of that stuff in my past. So, do
you look back at those days and just is it like you can't recognize yourself as
and I was in a blur. Like you're drinking most days and nights, and you just kind of just get through the day, and you'd be waiting for the clock to finish, and you'd just see how many sick days you can take, without taking the getting in trouble with your manager or whatever it was. Like, it's just such a different mindset. Like, it was maybe a 180 from where I am today and have been for like the last 10 years. So
mission accomplished. I look at the word discipline, and it comes from the word disciple, right? A constant, a perpetual student of life. You have a choice to do mastery or dabble.
Yeah, the Ryan Holiday's latest book, Discipline is Destiny, I just finished that one. And so many great examples of just, when you, and like I love putting it back on self. It's not like we need to hold the world to a certain standard. It's we hold ourselves to that standard based on the type of goals we have. So, and we do it because we love ourselves. We do it because we know it's best for us. And if you don't come it with that type of love, you can end up being that torture is just whipping you to work harder and grind more. And if you grind, non-stop, you can end up grinding everything to dust, and that's not ultimately what you want. You want to be like a chiseler, grinding and chipping away at this masterpiece you want to build, and not end up in dust.
The masterpiece of our life, huh? And the discipline just it sets us free. With discipline, it actually sets us free to not have to think about it. You're just doing and those the non-negotiables. What's Steve Chapman not good at?
Everything. I think for me, good is the enemy of great. So, I don't want to get complacent. I don't want to think that, and I fall into a trap sometimes, and I don't want to encourage young entrepreneurs or listeners to never take a moment and be gratitude and be, honor yourself for what you've accomplished. I think that's super important. Something that I'm still trying to do more of. But for me, it's that balance of gratitude, looking back at what we've gone through and the journey we've been on, but then also the excitement when I look forward to kind of go, what can I do? What's possible? What's next? So just trying to live, also make sure living in the moment in between those two states. But let's say 50% moment, 25% past, 25% future, something like that.
Okay. So he's not good at being fully present in the moment?
I guess sometimes I'm planning or thinking or reflecting, and you can get in my head a bit with what I would have done better, or what I would have changed about it, or planning for the future and almost impatiently waiting for it to arrive, and pick myself up to kind of go, hang on, all that matters is right now. Yeah.
What keeps you up at night, Steve?
Let's say wasted potential.
Yeah, I get it.
In my last day that I met the person I could have become, and that person, is a stranger to me.
Yeah.
I'd like to meet that person face to face as a peer or a friend, or look at myself in the mirror. Or I don't know if this is even metaphysically possible, but exceeded my potential in somehow.
Yes, it is metaphysically possible, but it often happens when you least expect it. Yeah. I have 2 last questions for you. If you were to play a character in a movie, who would that character be, and what would that movie be?
I've always...
so what, you haven't thought of that question before?
No, like...
I'm joking.
I've changed my answer, which is interesting. I used to probably, like, if you go to like superhero archetypes or something, I think I resonated more with like a Batman for many, many years.
Yes.
Batman had this chip on his shoulder, and I think what drove him often was this kind of like revenge or prove himself, and I think I evolved now more to... and resonate more today with more like a Superman archetype, where he's doing it ultimately for the love of, the people, and he's very self-sacrificial.
And not so dark.
He's less dark as well, particularly the more recent incarnations. Actually, the most recent versions, he's probably pretty dark, but generally speaking, Superman seems pretty happy, and he's doing it more from a place of love.
Yeah.
Then Batman's a bit more doing it from a place of vengeance, I think.
Yeah. And it's cool to evolve.
Yeah.
And to grow from that. I have a gift for you, Steve, to thank you so much for your time.
That.
I know how busy you are, and you can open it with a magnet box.
This is some nice, delicious tiger purr. Thank you. This is really good, by the way.
It is so good. And
there is no greater life hack to get you from where you are today to where you want to be than the people you choose to put in your corner.
High five.
I love that. Thank you so much.
And there's a little spoon there with a little logo on top.
Oh, wow. This is beautiful.
My last question. What makes Mr. Steve Chapman purr? Apart from Lauren.
The game of entrepreneurship.
Yeah, it's a cool game. It's a cool game. We're doing so many things for the world. Thank you for all that you do for the world.
Appreciate it. Thank you so much.
I enjoyed this thoroughly. Thank you.
Thank you.